Welcome back to The Link, everybody, on the last day of the week. It was supposedly going to be a rainy weekend, so please stay safe. Well, you know, on this program, we always feature goings-on Guam. We feature current events in our native tongue with the lovely dulcet tones of Uncle King Concepcion. And the man, the myth, the legend himself is joining us in the KUM News Zoom room right now because he's launching a new podcast focusing on Chamorro issues, culture, heritage, wonderful people. You know, he's an experienced broadcaster. He's interviewed more people than I can even probably name. So here he is himself. Uncle Ken, welcome to the show, and it's very, very good to see you.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. It's good to see you guys again, man. It's been a while.
Maybe a couple of years, right? back on the airwaves, the way it should be.
Yeah, well, it's a pleasure, and actually, I was very excited to go ahead and start up with the Kuentos'ta Pago podcast in Chamorro for the better part of in Chamorro, and this project that I'm doing right now, I interviewed a couple of people, actually more than what the clip's going to show, but I find it interesting to just go out there and find out about the retired Manamco, for example, and the ones that contributed a lot and shaped our island the way it is now, and see what the heck they're doing these days. And there's plenty lined up in which they'll tell their story about what they did while they were in the government, for example, or even the private sector, and what they're doing now. So I find that very, very interesting, and that's a podcast in itself. That's an interesting story in itself, where we could look at it as an educational means for the ones that are coming up, So never let it be said that only politicians could shape our government and the way we live nowadays. So, we just have to, go down.
Well, life experience is invaluable. Absolutely. And just because you're interviewing retirees, and, yourself, you're an Army veteran, you were artillery, right?
No. I was artillery. Yeah, I was firing the big cannons. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, thank you for your service as always. But just because you're interviewing, your fellow retirees doesn't mean by any means that they're just sitting around, kind of like in the rocking chair, just like watching the sun rise and set. Your first podcast coming up, you actually interviewed Kathy Flores McCollum, someone who is a very, very outspoken member of our community on land issues and the relationship with the U.S. military.
Yeah, I pinpointed Kathy because of the news event that came out concerning the Eagles field up in Manila, and even at that, there's still some controversy going on. I guess when you read the paper or listen to, of course, number one KUAM.
And we're just getting started with that issue. That's going to go on for a while.
Yeah, you guys opened that can here, but what it is that I took interest in that because I do remember Kathy a long while back, a couple of years anyway. Saying something to that effect, something similar to what the florists were saying over in Fadian or Eagles Field. So I said, let me check out Kathy. Kathy's a friend. I haven't spoken to her in a while, but I said, hey, you want to go on and I will talk a little bit about this. And man, you'll find it very, very interesting. When I had a talk show there at KUAM, when we still had the antenna over in orbit, I had some callers. And they told me the same thing, and it's just disheartening, if you will, for lack of a better word, I guess. But it's bordering, is hovering over disgust about how we landowners are being treated, and it's just put it in the back burner and just let's move on. Now, it became a very, very interesting topic, and like I said, I spoke to Kathy for like an hour just on this, just her take, and she pinpointed especially litigation, which is Ritidian, about trials and tribulations that they had to go through, and now they're opening up a firing range and all this. So it's very, very interesting for those that want to just chime in and or rather hear it and listen to it or make a comment about it. It's great.
And the dialogue between the two of you is very, very good perspective from, the standpoint of experience, of wisdom, of, we've done this dance like a few times and everything like that, but it's incredibly entertaining. And we want to play this clip, Uncle King, because of course, Kuentos'ta Pago is now on the KUM Podcast Network. Just go and click on podcast. You can see it. So here is a clip about Uncle Ken's new show on the KUM Podcast Network.
Pesulia izi berkerain sepenis ni podungi gini ki sisonzan agaknya nih.
Di Japanese Zero no,
Ya.
sobek gini kita sa.
Ya, ulia nih wega zuna na sepenis nih dulu osu pes kelas papa di alam sisonzan di agaknya izi linya takin di Gane shopping center Pago. First andi kinaulo na ususedi na igera no. Pues esta na no kinipende ko taja stisina tinegay no na ira ni zipo lo phenomenal surprise me. Not too many things surprise me or because I've seen some of the worst things during the war. All the destruction, especially in Nagano. But because of that, and then we were actually, because we're part Japanese, we were rounded up with all of the other Japanese, the real Japanese, and family, and most of us that are Chamorro Japanese, the Tanaka, the Takanos, and the Okadas. I think some of us, but definitely the Hara, we were put in concentration camp right there across the now Naval Hospital. I think that building was right there where the Parks and Recs building is now, and the Elks Club, or that area, or the not the Elks but the Mason. The Mason building. Okay, so and so at that moment, for a few weeks, we were a family with our country. The Americans take us as prisoner, and the Guamanians, don't like us because we're part Japanese. To the point that while we were in concentration camp, they burned down our house in Agana Spring, where we've been living for many years, and it's a
Matulay ka. Mas huhasu na tiempo di ang kuloko si Governor Bill Daniel gobyerno gina tiempo ane matupapahagak niya dani bulldozer da ime nan zahami fanan ratutung of the man ko by coincidence na non ajo atutuhun haagang ho na fatosungo gi siza yung banda dali na we're gonna clean up Pagania. Okay. Pues inta kasi magay din na pura tangan tangan lokis tabagat niya. No, he didn't care. He wanted to clean it up. Yochu no hasu na sudimento I cracked up. Si Governor Berdalio hanagagasgas na si Padron gisanhatan ni gobyerno no. The guina tiempo it was a downpour of rain. The Matsura todo agaga na oda papa do mo no halum gizahami.
Oh God. Manu kata na bandai.
Edi ikatan hulali shopping center gumamami. Okay.
Hulali na lugar ma fananan antis no.
No, Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz.
We'll talk about.
All right, so of course that an upcoming episode of Kuentos'ta Pago with Uncle King Concepcion. That of course Eloy Hara, the former general manager of the Guam Waterworks Authority, as well as many other roles within the government of Guam. Uncle Kim, thank you so much. The podcast is now live. People can watch it, comment on it, enjoy it, and share it with their friends. It's a very, very good conversation. So congratulations on launching the new show.
Well, thank you so much for that opportunity there, Jason and Bree and Chris and everybody else that's involved there. But it's still going on. Kuentos'ta Pago in the KUM podcast. Ang malagam dyan ay hingop mas and pia una ni didi do mas didi na nu artikulo siya ginanokto siya na klasen taw-tawi ni siya banti nu inekto mo data idukan my site no hangi manmamela siya na tempo. Thank you for having me. I just wanted to put in that tomorrow.
Of course.
Buenas today, just getting out of You know, it's not that cool anymore. So you know, you just gotta go in there and just
Says
say,
who?
Buenas.
Show us
I mean-
show us the people who say that.
Yeah, I understand. That
All right,
was a
well,
bad
hey,
joke, but
you're one of
nonetheless.
you're one of many proud people keeping the traditions and you know the history alive and everything like that. So we're honored to have you as a part of our family and our show, Uncle Ken. Always good to see you.
It's my pleasure, and actually, it's my honor. Thank you so much,
All right,
guys.
see you tomorrow, Uncle Ken.
Yes, adios.
All right, make sure to subscribe, everybody, and while you do, here's this week's Sports Link Report with Dave.